Ron Goodall, FightHype.com. I'm joined by the silver medalist, 11-0, 10 by stoppage, and one by knocking their mouthpiece a million times out of their mouth. Also known as Bob Ross with hands, Richard Torrez Jr. How's it
What's up?
going, man?
What's up? I like the introduction, man. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Great, great. You make your ring return on December 7th, in Phoenix. Loaded card, right? It's the rematch card, I like to say. Manuel Navarrete, Oscar Valdez, Rafael Espinoza, Robeisy Ramirez. I mean, first as a fan, I'm sure you're excited to watch the card, but you're back on the card and you'll be taking on what BoxRec says is the number one Mexican heavyweight, Isaac Gutierrez. So how excited are you to be back, and what do you think about your opponent?
Oh, I'm really excited to be back. And man, it's a stat card. Oh, I can't wait to be a part of it. I like just once as soon as I figured out the top two fights, I was like, oh, I can't wait. I really can't wait. But I'm excited to be able to share the ring with someone that is a worthy opponent. I feel like my last couple of guys, they've really helped me build, and I feel like that like each fight I've had has been a test that I've passed. I'm really looking forward to having another test that I can showcase my ability with.
The opponent that you'll be facing, his only losses against a credible guy, Jermaine Franklin, who's only lost to like Dillian White, Anthony Joshua, and Isaac's never been stopped. So I mean, granted, I know that the introduction was 11-0, with 10 stoppages, but it seemed like Joey DeVaco was on the way of being stopped in that process. So ultimately, I know the cliche, you're not looking for the knockout, but ultimately, is that kind of the mindset? Get these guys out of there?
I mean, you don't get paid for overtime, right? So if the knockout's there, I'm gonna take it. But end of the day, I want to showcase my abilities. And I think this is a great fight to be able to do so. This guy is he punches well. He punches a lot. He's slick with it. I think I'm able to actually box because sometimes when I fight and you could feel him kind of go or start to go, I don't like playing with my food. I'm gonna get him out of there. I think that this is an opponent that I'll be able to think with, and I'll be able to utilize some feints and some counters, and I'm just really excited to to be in the ring and share the ring.
A lot of fighters, they typically like want to be considered a knockout artist and get all those type of things. And sometimes when it doesn't happen, it frustrates them. Does it kind of frustrate you in your case where they think of you more as the knockout artist, but not be able to show all the Olympic pedigree, the technical aspects, the ring generalship? Like, is that what you're more frustrated that you don't have an opposition to kind of show that razzle dazzle?
It's a little frustrating when people say I just maul you. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this guy doesn't get fight, he just goes in there and mauls the person. I mean, like, I'm excited that people will recognize that I have a punch to me, but end of the day, it's crazy because any heavyweight has a pop. It only takes like 10 pounds of force to be able to rock you. It's not about how hard you get hit; it's about where you hit the guy. And so yeah, it is a little frustrating. I hope that people will start to see some of the boxing ability, and I know that this is a great fight for me to be able to showcase it. So good things on my end, man.
I was tipped off that you've been learning a little bit of your Mexican speaking and American Sign Language as well. I know you're considered a nice guy, but are you gonna try a little maybe trash talking with Mexican speaking with Isaac face to face, or are you gonna kind of give him a good old, let's have a good fight and kind
I think Isaac speaks English, so like he might be trying to trash talk me. But I if I knew how to trash talk, I probably would. I can't trash talk to save my life. I'd be saying things like I know you are, but what am I? Like I don't like there's not really that because whenever I was a kid and I had a problem with someone at the boxing club, we could just spar, So I learned how to talk with my hands. And that's kind of the reason I started taking ASL American Sign Language because I would tell everybody, man, I don't talk trash, I talk with my hands. And now there's an actual language where you can talk with your hands. So I had to put my money where my mouth is.
that's fair. That's actually very genius. So granted, when you're close up and someone's talking trash, you could just kind of just throw some hands and,
I'm
and kind of
saying.
confuse them a little
Yeah.
bit.
Uh,
I was also noted that you did some training with Robert Garcia out, with his camp and things like that. What was that experience like, and how did that help you out?
Yeah, so I was in Chula Vista at the elite training facility. So that was an Olympic camp. I was there with Billy Walsh, who was the head Olympic coach, and I was as well as some of the the up and comer kind of like fresh faces for the next Olympics. But I do go spar at Robert Garcia's gym pretty often. You know, I think I'm actually going there on Saturday. I'm gonna spar with that Antonio Morales guy. And so it's a great area, you know, and it's really cool being around all the other fighters. I like the environment they have over there of like they share the ring, they share the home, they share everything with each other. It reminds me of the Olympic Training Center. So it's a cool spot. But my main coach and my manager is my dad. He's my guy, and together we go everywhere, and we kind of will try to get some sparring.
That's awesome. This year seems like a really big year of like transition of the state of heavyweight, right? And I'm sure that you've probably been asked many times, but somewhere along the line, boxing is about being patient, taking your time, as in just waiting. Your time will come. You can't rush things. Do you feel after kind of how this year started and how it's ending that the heavyweight state is kind of now bringing it on to Richard Torrez now after kind of like Jared Anderson had his tough loss, and they were kind of looking at him as the next American, guy to come close to maybe winning a world title. Not saying he can't now, but just seeing that loss as a setback, a lot of changes of the division and, you coming off the silver medal win. Do you feel now that at the end of this year that a lot of people are looking at you to kind of be the next great American heavyweight?
Man, I've been jumping at the bit for a minute now, you know, of wanting to have like a big fight or kind of showcase my abilities to a larger crowd. But I understand that Top Rank has the plan for me. And I'm not one to go against the plan. You know, I understand that there's a method behind the madness. But you're right. I think that the heavyweight game is kind of changing a little bit. You know, like I think the top dogs are kind of moving on, and the younger guys we're fighting at the bit for our spot or our spotlight. Um, Man, Jared, I don't knock Jared too much for taking that fight because if I was offered that fight, I'd probably take it too. You know,
Hmm.
uh, as a fighter, you gotta believe that you're the best. You gotta believe that no matter what, I think I could take on like three people in the ring at the same time. You know what I mean? Like let alone just one. So I don't knock him for it at all. But I'm just looking back on his fight. It makes me thankful that I have the team I have around me. You know, of the people and the checks and balances and just the full trust I have that's in my dad and in my team that are able to lead me in the right direction. Because if it was up to me, I'd I'd be fighting everybody. I'd be calling out any name in general, you know. And while I still want to, and I don't turn down fights, I understand the process, and I'm thankful for the team that I have.
You and Jared had amateur experience. You guys fought each other. I believe you have a win over Jared as well.
Yeah,
Do you see it potentially maybe happening in the pros one day?
man, I think that'd be kind of cool. You know, Jared and I, I'm Jared's friend. You know, I like him. I'm a supporter of Jared.
Hmm.
I have a Jared Anderson shirt. And I was at the Bully fight, and I was yelling my butt off for Jared. You know, I do think that if we keep progressing how we can progress, that fight would be really great for American heavyweights. I think that we would be able to showcase just that we're still here. You know, if you would see at the Olympic Training Center, when we're both living there, people would stop their sparring to watch me and Jared spar. You know, it's a battle every single time we get in the ring, and and I think that would be a great fight to have in the future. But until then, I'm Jared's fan, and I'm wishing him the best.
That's awesome. My last couple set of questions is I can't help to ask. This that happened a week ago, but there was an Ali fight with Larry Holmes. Mike Tyson came and avenged the Ali beating Larry Holmes. Now, obviously,
Mhm.
Mike Tyson has suffered a defeat against Jake Paul. Granted, is it safe to ask maybe you to come in and maybe be the guy that comes and it avenges Mike Tyson for the beloved fans out there?
I would take a pay cut. I will get, I would do whatever it takes for me to be able to fight Jake Paul if that's the case. I don't care at all about the money in that aspect. I would love to fight him, because I do think that you can't just fight Mike Tyson, man. He's 58, like that kind of like that rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. I understand that that's for, I mean, his marketing ability, and I don't knock Jake Paul for any of that stuff. But if he's looking for a fight with a worthy opponent, and he's talking about how he wants to go to the Olympics now, and he's talking about how he wants to give American heavyweights or put American boxing back on the map. It rubs me a little bit. It rubs me the wrong way a little bit. It really does. I understand that he does it for publicity. He does it for the craft, but that's not really how my mind works. It's kind of feels like you're almost taking a shot at me a little bit. And so if he wants to spar, if he wants to fight, if he wants to do anything, I'm here and I'm ready.
Awesome. My very last question, and I would have to ask because you're stepping into this new generation, and it seems that there's about one or two more fights that essentially will close out the chapter before you come and crack into the top 10 and fight for championships. Is obviously Fury and Usyk for heavyweight supremacy. Do you see Usyk beating Fury again, or do you see that Fury will be able to make the adjustments and actually possibly make it a trilogy?
I think it's a closer fight than what most people expect. I feel like a lot of people are expecting Usyk to just kind of blow Fury out of the water. But that last fight, it wasn't a blowout either. It was like 2 rounds that kind of separated them. Uh, I think that the edge is in Usyk's favor. I think that he has a game plan that worked, and so he can kind of double down on that game plan. But you're right. It's up to Tyson Fury. The ball's in his court to see whether he wants to, how he's going to fix it and how he's going to change it. So I think the edge is to Usyk, but I do not count Tyson Fury out.
Awesome. Well, look, last message to the fans. I know you're excited to come back on December 7th. You're gonna be obviously someone that everyone's gonna be watching from here on out. Is there anything you want to let the fans know right before you go and fight on ESPN on a pretty stacked card that I believe so myself?
I would just like to say thank you for the continued support that you guys have given me. Um, you know, I box if no one watched, but it makes it a lot better when people do watch. So I really appreciate uh, just the support, and it really makes me feel like I am professional. It makes me feel like that I did go to the Olympics. And you guys are the reason why it feels so cool to be professional fighters. So I really do thank you for that. And I feel like I'm not one to shy away from a fight, and I'm not one to have a boring fight. So continue to watch and continue to be excited because I'm coming for a fight.
Awesome. Appreciate it.